All right, here we are, pulling in a surprise inspection for some interesting news. What's up, Loach? Welcome, welcome.
Can't fucking believe we got rode up over the last one.
Uh, well, all right. Well, we're a little bit late to the punch here, but this isn't something that I was especially really going to cover because I mean, other than a few passing comments, I haven't talked about this, but yeah, Dragon Ball Z is obviously a huge part of my life. Pretty much since I was conscious and sentient, I've been watching Goku fight people on the screen. So obviously, Akira Toriyama's death at the beginning of this month was pretty hard news, and it looks like about a week ago this article was put out, and among with some other articles on different websites, but um, just the main news, and we're going to talk about this and kind of how that affects other anime in the sphere, kind of what this means for the overall legacy, because this isn't the end of Dragon Ball as the article will go into, but oh, sorry, excuse me. But other than that, this is just going to be a little bit of a chat using this as a springboard. So Dragon Ball Super manga enters indefinite hiatus. So, which I think pretty much since the end of GT, that little gap we got between GT and Super, this is like one of the first times that nobody is actively working on Dragon Ball since like 1986 something ish. You know, I mean, it's nearly 30 straight years, or 40 actually.
Yeah, it was a decent while that it from when it happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when GT ended versus when Super started, but and perhaps the article will go into it, but yeah, it is definitely I imagine it has to be strange for people who are actually working there to know that just no one is, I mean, you got to imagine there are probably people that have been working in Shueisha in animation for Dragon Ball their whole career. So, and obviously it hasn't been being animated for a while, so maybe that whole animation side is not there. But still, I think it's crazy, and obviously this has some impact here. So we're gonna read through this article, and then whenever we feel like we want to talk about it, when we'll break off, kind of thing. So,
I
Dragon.
mean, a thing I will say whenever it comes to the whole death of Toriyama thing, I I found it very interesting that a bunch of my YouTube recommended I haven't been getting a lot of the Dragon Ball Z YouTubers capitalizing on it.
I've seen a few, but it depends on how you want to think of capitalizing it. I mean, obviously, Dragon Ball, or anime channels are gonna talk about it. It's news, so kind of where you draw the line between talking about something that is noteworthy versus capitalizing on it is kind of up to your own personal smell test. But I've seen a few channels that it definitely feels like they're taking, and I'm not going to name anyone for precisely the reason that I could be wrong, that they could say no, I was being genuine, and I could read that wrong. So, but yeah, it's one of those situations where that can be hard to tell because what do you expect people not to talk about? One of the most important mangakas ever, basically. So
I mean, very much so. Whenever it's one of the could be one of those things where it's extremely difficult to be able to tell who is capitalizing on it and who is actively trying to say stuff in remembrance of.
yeah.
But me and you both know, like you can see the videos and you can feel it.
Well, it's usually the way I feel is when you present no part of that in your. I'm trying to do this in a way that stays vague. There is someone who I like and respect when it comes to some of their media takes, and no, I'm not going to. You know what? Because the more specific I get, the more I feel like people are going to be able to piece it together because internet sleuths are amazing. Uh, I feel like if you've never spoken about Dragon Ball Z, or Akira Toriyama on a main channel aspect or in a way that you actively promote, then I feel less like it's genuine. But it still could be. Just could be something like, I made multiple channels and only one. This is kind of things I was thinking about as I was trying to phrase it. So, look, I don't know anyone else's mind. If of course this is going to be noteworthy, they're going to make news about it. But yeah, I think off the air, I'll tell you about this channel that I think does things a little bit not as genuine, but I don't have the ability to prove that claim, so I'm not going to make it.
I don't have the wherewithal.
I'm trying to be, at least a little bit careful. But alright, so Dragon Ball Super has made its return to the shelves, and the manga has fans deep in their feelings. Earlier this month, the world was turned upside down when news of Akira Toriyama's death went live. The series creator of Dragon Ball left behind a powerful legacy, and part of it includes the manga he was working on with the artist Toyotaro. But in light of Toriyama's death, it seems the Dragon Ball Super manga is going on indefinite hiatus. So, I think we talked about this, not live, but just in calls in the Discord, where, because a few of our friends are aware that Dragon Ball is kind of my shit, so of course people are like, what do you think should happen? Do you think that the anime should end, or do you think Toyotaro rubbing his hands together, now it's all mine kind of thing? All the jokes were made, but this is.
I think you should. I think you should canonize AF. That should be priority number one.
No, but this is obviously my preferred timeline, and I know people hear that and they go, "You said you're a Dragon Ball fan." It's like, well, yeah, I think that it should end. And I've talked to a few people about this, and this will be the furthest I could go. I think you should end Toriyama's timeline. You should almost put it in like a sealed little bubble. We're not gonna mess with the OG timeline. But if you want to do a Dragon Ball story, then you could do a hit manga. You could do Trunks and in the other timelines trying to fix stuff. You could do a bunch of different stories. Do 500 years in the past. No, do 500 years in the past or whatever. I mean, just stay away from our main continuity. That is Toriyama's continuity, and then you could do other stories. But this is my preferred timeline. I think you just end it. I think it's a clean break. It was Toriyama's story. Look, I'll be honest. I don't think Toriyama came back to Dragon Ball for money. Dragon Ball Evolution left such a bad taste in his mouth that he didn't want it to be remembered that way. But he was willing to end it with Z and a non-canon GT. Like, he was willing to just end it like that, and that wasn't bothersome to him. So I don't think it was ever about the money for him. So I'm hoping that this isn't about the money for Shueisha. Dragon Ball should end. This was Toriyama's story. This was his adventurous spirit and sense of humor and what he found interesting and fun and impactful, encapsulated in a story. I don't think you continue Dr. Slump either, for those wondering, oh, should we make a Dr. Slump remake? Which no one's wondering that, but I'm just kind of using that for comparison's sake. Obviously, no one would think ending Dragon Ball would be crazy if it had been 20 years since its end and then Toriyama died. Obviously, we'd go, well, yeah, Dragon Ball's done. It's been done. But the fact that this is even a question where it's like, no, Toyotaro should continue it, this is my genuine opinion. Toyotaro should have been and should have stayed and remained the artist. Toriyama should have always maintained plot control. In the areas he didn't, the story suffered. Toyotaro should have been, first and foremost, a artist who's helping with the panels, drawing the panels.
Tracing the panels.
Yeah, in some cases. Look, if I think Toyotaro has a big enough platform, enough people know his name, that if he wanted to make his own manga, and here's the thing, make it Dragon Ball. Do a Dragon Ball story. Future Trunks and Mai, after the events of your arc, your baby, Goku Black, they're going to find a new world. Or do, after the Tournament of Power, when 17 wished back every universe, there were universes that we weren't aware of that were wished back, and do some stories in that are complete. I mean, you need to basically contain and isolate Toriyama's timeline, leave it alone, and then do some other stories, and you could actually make that your manga. That's your story. What you find fun and interesting about Dragon Ball, that's completely your own. That you can go any direction you want with it, and people will read it. I think you should do that if you want to continue doing manga. Um, I
I
think
mean,
you
but
leave
I
Dragon
feel
Ball
like you're
alone.
inevitably going to run into the issue, though, of even if you do that, you're going to get the Dragon Ball fans that are going to come in and go, yeah, but where's Goku? When's Goku going to come in and fight uh, Zycor from Dimension 12A?
I, th-
You know
I
what I mean?
I think you can do other Gokus. I mean, just like there are other universes that have different types of Superman, you can do different types of Gokus. But I mean, just don't write your story with retarded fan expectations in mind. Like, don't ever write your story with like, what are the really dumb mouth breathers on the internet going to say, or like, what's the vocal minority
I
going
got
to say?
I
Uh,
gotta please the Twitter stands. I
Look,
have to.
I mean, look. I think the amount of people who are not going to engage with the idea of this is a side story, and for a meta reason, we're not touching Toriyama's main story. If those people can't understand that, I don't think you worry about their impact or their feedback on your story. I think you keep going. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is my preferred timeline. I think indefinite hiatus and or just ending it. I mean, this timeline should be done. Leave it alone. As you may have heard, Dragon Ball Super Chapter 103 went live this week. There's 103 chapters of Dragon Ball Super. Oh my god. Anyway,
Is that more or less than Z?
definitely less. Z has like, oh man, I want to say like 200 or 300 ish. Hold on. Live Google. Uh, how. Uh, yeah, so you gotta remember, Dragon Ball Z was published as Dragon Ball because in Japan there was no distinction between Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. But Dragon Ball Z covers chapters 195 to 519.
Damn.
So, very long.
So we were barely into the life cycle of Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to think about it this way, there's 190 chapters of Dragon Ball. So, we're about 90 chapters away from like a full Dragon Ball story if we wanted. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z went on much longer.
Hmm.
But yeah, I can't believe there's already 103 chapters of Dragon Ball Super. Obviously, I'm not very favorable on it. I dropped it pretty much around halfway through the Moro arc. I realized that this just was not what I was interested in anymore, and I stopped reading it. And then I was getting like random updates here and there with the gas, and I'd like catch up, but it just
Yeah, I didn't read any of it. I watched the anime for Through the Tournament of Power.
yeah.
I picked the manga up, read through Moro and Granola and Gas, and got hyped up all the way through to Black Frieza, and I fucking loved it because it was so dumb.
It was everything I heard was it was almost like a parody article. Like they're doing this, and I was like, yeah, for sure they're doing that. They're like, no, I'm being serious. Like
No, no, seriously though.
I wasn't following the manga live, and then someone told me about the new Dragon Balls, and I was like, no, you can't do that though. You can't fuck. Anyway, um, yesterday, Manga Plus did suggest Dragon Ball plan to return in May with a new chapter. However, that notice has since been revised. Given Shueisha's control over the site, you can imagine the company itself is in the dark about Toyotaro's comeback. Huh. So Shueisha controls that site. They had a suggestion that we are going to get a chapter in May, but that was taken down. So I wonder if that's, that site making a mistake, Shueisha trying to push something, and Toyotaro saying no, or what. But I mean,
Yeah,
I would.
I'd be really interested to see whether or not Toritaro actually was the one who pushed back on that.
I think if you're going on what is most likely, it has to be him more than like. I don't think it's very likely that a studio is going. No, no, don't make any more of this very successful and right now much more media. I mean, if we think about it very cynically, if Dragon Ball Super were never to go on hiatus and start releasing chapters, there's a good chance they start picking up readers. Toriyama just died. People might be interested to see what's going on. It's just, I mean, it's dark, but it is kind of how humans work. So, from a studio perspective, the idea of we're going to go on a hiatus, perhaps at a chance where a lot of people could come back if we cash in on this, cynically enough. Yeah, I don't see.
I mean, it's Shueisha. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you told me that was the case.
And, like, maybe that requires a level of, like, cynicism to think that they would actively do that, but I do think it requires a level of naivety in the opposite direction to think that of the person to have a moral awakening, it would be the studio and not perhaps the artist. I think what is most likely. Yeah, I don't even think it's cynical. It's that you would have to believe the studio would actively be willing to lose money out of respect for Toriyama. When I'm going to be honest, they never really had much respect for Toriyama.
I will say Japanese company. So if anyone's gonna have the respect, it more likely is gonna be them.
Yeah, but as of right now, I'm going to operate under the assumption that Toyotaro is just struggling right now. I may not agree with all the writing choices he's made, but he for sure loved Toriyama. Like, probably loved him as a person. I mean, they probably knew each other decently well. They had to work together for at least 9 years, 2015 to 2024. So,
Hey, listen, in that aspect, you guys are brothers.
I'm Tanjiro, and he's the young master. Not Tanjiro, Ichiban.
You're Ichiban. He's the young master.
Um, After all, Toriyama did work on Dragon Ball Super in tandem with Toyotaro. The latter did all the art and added in story details, while Toriyama oversaw the main plot as well as storyboard sketches. For years, Toriyama approached Toyotaro as a sort of protege, but no student is ever ready to lose their master. For
And all
now,
I'm gonna say is there were a decent amount of those times Toriyama was fucking drunk, and whenever Toibo was giving him fucking story ideas, and he was like, "Pass me the bottle of sake. I don't fucking care."
listen, why are you talking about work? Come get these soap workers all on your dick, Toriyama-san.
Toibo-san, we must go to the soap land.
No, but we have this chapter we have to do. Listen, the Resurrection F arc isn't going to write itself. It literally fucking will. That's what we're the top dogs for. Come on.
It 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 literally will. Just hand it to an intern. They'll do a better job than what you did.
Oh. No, it's not an
Yeah, look.
insult. I trained the
Yeah, yeah.
monkeys
Look.
well.
Yeah, look at the intern right there. His name is Cosmos. He really loves Dragon.
he can you believe he did this shit for free? What
Can
a
you believe
retard.
he flew here from the Gaijin land?
Oh. Like, he looks over my shoulder, he says
God, I hate them.
he looks over the shoulder, he's like, "Oh, that's actually a good idea. You're fired. Get out of here." Grabs the
That's why
fucking
you hate him. That's your villain origin
my
story.
villain
That's why you
origin.
hate him.
For now, the future of the Dragon Ball Super manga is up in the air, but it hasn't been canceled outright. The series is simply on hiatus, and Toyotaro will return to it with the Dragon Ball team once they process the loss of Toriyama. I'm hoping
Jesus,
that
I
doesn't
keep
happen.
fucking losing where you're at.
That's okay. You can't read.
No, I can read. No, I'm not. I know this is not canon. I can read.
No, we're not on a wiki.
Not yet.
Um, yeah. So
Did you call me Snack Harlow?
I think this is obviously trying to instill, like, look, there's a chance that it's not over and it's coming back. I hope it is. I hope that this is the end of Dragon Ball, the main timeline. Obviously, I've kind of already said that a couple times, but yeah, this is just my stance on it. And I think we can transition into a more hot take that you're a little bit more familiar with. If I ever created a story and I died before it was finished, I'm sorry, I died before it was finished. It's just one of those times where that's a tragedy in human history where an artist died before their work was fully done, and I don't think just because we're in the era where people feel like they're owed an ending means we start giving it to them when it isn't genuine. Um, so even if I told someone else my plot ideas, how it's implemented, or the changes I might make later on if I decide this isn't really working, that's not possible for someone else to do in the way that I would do it. So it doesn't matter how much plot details or how many notes I give them. I think in essence you're losing something when it's not the person who originally created it. Um,
I mean,
so
you've heard me go on and on about whenever the death of Miura happened.
well,
Like,
that's exactly what I was gonna kind of bring up is Berserk as a writing thing now with his wife and another person taking over his story with his blessing, but
well, with his blessing, with the storyboard, with his notes, with everything, people can be mad at my hot take. The ending for whatever happens in Berserk is fan fiction. I don't care. It can narratively do everything that I want and be exactly what I care about, and they could hand me the notes and say this is handwritten, signed by Mira. This is what he wanted. If he didn't make it, fan fiction. I don't care. It can be cool. I mean, in the same way, I'm cool with reading fanfiction.net and I can go, man, that's a cool thing you did with that character. Not real though.
mm,
I mean, I'll enjoy it. I'll like seeing the art. The new person doing the art it looks fine. Looks passable. I mean, in the same way people were getting pissed off at Miura for doing a lot more lightly detailed, a lot more flowery images now, which guess what? Was fucking intentional because they're in the fairyland. It's supposed to convey the softness of the land that they're in. Fucking dumbasses.
mm.
Dude, have I not told you about that? About like how pissed off people were getting over the fact that not everything was super dark, super gritty, and like hyper shadowy detailed because they were in the light-hearted fairy village.
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah, people were getting super mad about that, saying Miura's like lost all of his stuff, and then immediately after that releases chapters that are back in Midland, and they look fucking sick, and they're like, but everything didn't look great back on the ferry. Everything looked kind of soft on the ferry island. What's the deal with that? And it's like,
I wonder.
motherfuckers, that themes, themes, you dumb pieces of shit.
My themes. She's my
It's
theme.
God, it's like the people reading it are like, well, I kind of understand what's going on with like the whole thematic thing of Griffith having the army of apostles in Falconia, but I don't understand visual imagery. It's like, dude, it's like we've evolved you past the blubbering fish, but you're not using your lungs. Like you're still sitting in the water, and we're like, no, dude, one more step, just one
Dude,
more step. It's okay.
dude, every day that I live, I think about the one meme where it's like, use your brain, that thing in your head, use it. Dude, I think about that in my head probably like once a day. Because I'll see someone do some stupid shit and I'll just hear, use your brain, use your brain.
I thought you were gonna reference the meme where it's like the primordial fish creature getting out of the water, and then it shows like a time traveling human with a gun ready to shoot it.
Do you not know the meme I'm talking about when I say that?
No,
Oh,
no.
hold on. I got you.
Well, I mean, the clip will play right now.
When did I do that? Use your brain! Use your brain! Use your brain! The thing in your head, use it!
I know. Oh, goddamn it. Alright,
I can feel the disappointment in your voice as I said that.
Well, dude, I mean, they saw me go to YouTube, pull it up, and everything. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously what we're going to talk about. Yeah, I think there are gonna be people that don't look on that. Well, you have the blessing of Miura, and he knew he was gonna die. He wrote all this in case of this event and all that. Um, the problem is at and this is going to sound bad to some people because some people are like, well, if not them, who could take over? It's like, well, no one. Unfortunately, that's kind of how life and death works. Like,
Yeah, no one, no one. Hey, welcome to the deaths of people. They are sudden. They take them away. You can no longer enjoy the light of their life.
yeah, and the products
Oh
and things they
no.
gave. Yeah, it's part of losing them is that we can no longer enjoy the things they made. We can.
Oh no. Man, isn't it crazy how that almost builds like a level of beauty within his work that this is a time capsule of what he spent his time and created?
I mean, now we're getting into the real shit, but yeah, and people can go, well, that's fine if that's your own opinion, but look, at a objective level, if you are not the original author, even if you give someone else permission, if you're not the original author and you are writing a story based on a different person's story, you are writing fan fiction. If it's not an adaptation, if you're not taking something from film to screen, if you're just doing, I'm going to do a story based on a different story that I didn't write, even if they're your husband, it is fan fiction. You may be a higher level fan, maybe a endorsed fan, or a fan that happens to be fucking the guy who wrote it. It doesn't change the fact that you are a fan and you're not the person who created it. You don't have their brain. I'm sorry. As much as you have their heart, you don't have their brain, and that's what I'm interested in.
The thing is people will go, "Oh, what's the close to the same thing?" They weren't a co-author. This is not a co-author situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was a co-authorship, I would be a lot more forgiving. If it was like the creator of Berserk is Miura and his wife, and I would know her fucking name if that were the case, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a co-authorship. Like they both worked together. They both did all the storyboarding. They did all the art. They did the direction of the characters. And she was like, "Oh, my husband died. I'm gonna finish our work." It would be the phrase, "I will finish our manga," not "I'm gonna finish my husband's manga."
Yeah.
Like,
And I mean,
look at the fucking wording you're using. Like, the deliberate wording these people use, and they still have the fucking gall.
well, okay, this is a great example. Um, do you guys think that Critical Role will continue in their exact same timeline and story if Matt Mercer were to die tomorrow? Or do you think they're gonna?
No,
Or do you think they're gonna close the chapter on his universe because that's his universe, a completely brand new lore and shit, new continents, and that's his. Now, do I think that Exandria will never be used in a Critical Role story again? No, of course not. I think that they'll do other things with Exandria, the actual universe, but in terms of the timeline that we're in, the canon continually updating the lore with different Critical Role campaigns, that would end. That there would we would get a bunch of different like we would get like Calamity and stuff like that, but we'd get what Abria Iyengar did for Exandria, but you wouldn't get any more in that universe, and that shouldn't be crazy or a shock to you. It shouldn't matter if he's married to Marisha Ray. Is that who he's
yeah,
married? Yeah. Doesn't matter if he's married to her and she knows a bunch of shit. She she could DM a different story instead in that universe, but like taking over for him and just continuing like nothing happened, no, that wouldn't happen.
listen. I think it's absolutely beautiful that Marisha Ray cucks Matthew Mercer in every single game that they play together. It's fine. I
I
don't
mean,
care.
this is gonna get super tangential. I don't think that's cucking though. Let's just get through this.
Bro, she wants to fuck every female character that she fucking plays with.
Her character wants to engage in a relationship with a different character than the
That's
the
crazy. That's
person at the
crazy
table.
how consistently it happens.
Well, I'll say, yeah, it'd be nice to see her play a straight character for once, but like, I don't.
No,
Okay,
no.
I think it's as much cucking as it is like Liam's gay because he played Caleb.
And Vax.
and Vax. It's just like no, I don't think. I don't.
Bro, dude, he plays gay characters more often than he's played straight characters.
Perhaps online or perhaps on like on screen, but he's probably been playing D&D a long time. And there's a level of representation because they view themselves as more than just a game at home they're recording now. They view themselves as almost like a reflection of how D&D could or should be played. So
So it's so fuck. This is a huge change on Dragon Ball V, but it's so lame, dude. Like the fact that they have to go in to a fantasy world and they have to just retroactively put in quote unquote representation in what is a fantasy world. It's like, dude, you can be plenty representative with the fantasy world without having to like overtly,
well,
you know what I mean?
I don't think their goal is to pander or like overtly retroactively do
Yes, it is.
representation. No, I will actually say I think that from their mindset, it's like it's important to them that they do that. I think they exist in that political sphere where it's one, it may be smart business wise, but I actually think they go like, no, I think it's important. I think when they're in the creation phase where you and I might go, oh, I think it's cool if Griffin or Cal kind of has struggles with this insecurity or struggles with this religious aspect. I think in that same vein, Liam might go, I think it'd be interesting if Cal was bisexual or Cal was pansexual or asexual. I think that happens. I think in their creative, because they may view sexuality at a higher importance on identity than you or I would. I do think that gets formulated pretty early in their character creation process. Whereas you and I go, oh, I mean, I guess if you were to think about it, Cal is probably asexual because Cal's never expressed any attraction to anyone. Um, Griffin seems to be straight, so Cal might be straight as far as we know. But Griffin seems to have an attraction to both Evangeline and Vera. So, but that was never something I was like, what is. I never went in formulating that, but that's just because I don't view that as important. Whereas they might view that as more important. So they're like, at the creation outset, at the backstory, they're going, oh, what sexuality is he? What gender is he? And I don't think they're viewing that as forced representation. I don't think it feels forced from them.
All right, here's my schizo theory.
Okay.
I think it is 100% calculated and forced. I think
Mm.
it's the case because they know that the main proponent of people that watch that show are a bunch of teenage girls, and like, or not teenage girls, like young adult women that that listen to Critical Role, and they like the weekly drama. And I think they do that to really pander to that audience, and they know those are their money milkers. They're 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 pay pigs. That's what I think.
I don't. I don't think it is to that degree. No. I do think that they, because they've received backlash for certain things before, I do think they are aware that they are on a political side and to be careful in how they navigate that. But I don't actually think it's as cold as I actually don't think it's as cold as calculated as all that. I do think those are all their politics. Like it when you look at their Twitters and you look at just their the way they joke around. I do think they believe the lives that they represent in their characters in terms of like what they believe is moral and right and all that. Um, so it's hard for me to say it's pandering when I do think it's genuinely what they believe about their politics. So like it'd be like one of those things where one of our friends, if they created a character who is like female and bi and was anti-capitalist and had all these viewpoints that were very reminiscent of their real life viewpoints, we wouldn't accuse them of pandering. We would accuse them of self-inserting. That.
Yeah, maybe it's just a deal with like seeing and the interaction between the audience that they have around them that makes me lean more towards the idea of pandering, just because they've gathered that group of similar minds around them, so it leans itself more to feeling like pandering.
Well,
Whereas,
the reason I don't think it's pandering is because they've been like this since episode one. Like
mm,
it's not pandering if that's the audience you've cultivated through your organic
I
play.
I don't think I think they have definitely gotten a lot more leaning in that direction
I
as the
mean,
campaigns have
have
gone on.
have politics in general not gotten more extreme on both sides as time has gone on? You know what I mean? Like you got to remember, campaign 1 is like 2015, 2016, right in the era of everyone getting way more political, and then only as
I don't
time
think
goes.
I think it was before that.
Let's see. I mean, I'll do a live Google. Critical Role campaign 1.
Yeah, like I feel like it definitely was at least like what, like 20.
Original release 2015.
Damn, you were right on the money with that.
I have a good memory when it comes to that.
Okay, so yeah, that'd be like right before the era where everything was getting like
Right
way
before
super
Trump,
politicized.
yeah, and things in general got more political. But if you go watch campaign 1, I mean, they're liberal. That's fine. I'd say there is one person at the table who is not liberal and has some more relaxed viewpoints on a lot of things and was viewing it generally
And
more.
he's no longer
Well,
there.
look, I am not a Tiberius supporter. Let's just get that out of the way. I think Tiberius was played by a person who was viewing it like a game they happened to be recording rather than content. And he did not see what was happening around him. If he had just played his cards a little bit more cool, his career would be set up right now.
I also
Unfortunately, he didn't see the
I also,
direction things were going.
I also think I mean my 2 cents on the Tiberius situation is I think the bad things that he did as a player could have been easily corrected by the DM by actually confronting him about it.
Yeah, yeah.
But I personally think that Marisha Ray didn't want him there, and so Matt as the DM didn't address the things in the manner he should if he wanted to keep that player.
Well, look, here's the thing. Do I think that Tiberius was a problem player? Yes.
Yes.
Do I
Yes.
think Tiberius was a unsolvable problem player? No.
Mm-mm.
I think you have a couple conversations with him and it's over. But yeah, it's one of those unfortunate situations. Like, can you imagine if Trevor, if like you and my, if your lady and me didn't get along that well, it would probably be hard to do like D&D sessions at your house where I was like around her. You know.
Well, yeah, and then anytime I would go over to y'all's place, it would be "Are you done yet? Are you done yet? Are you
Yeah.
done yet?"
So it's definitely one of those things where if we were doing it as a career, like, and you know, this would be something I wouldn't be opposed to is doing like our weekly D&D and recording it and uploading it on here. But
Hey, the
you know,
main reason I'd want to do that is so I can look back and fucking remember all the fucking shit I
dude,
say.
the amount of times I've wanted to do that for the Greek mythology campaign, or like, oh, how exactly? Because I think I changed a word here in the prophecy, and that wording is going to be important now. So now, how exactly did I change the wording? And like me wanting to go and look it up, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe there'll be a like goal or something for that if you guys want to see D&D content. And this is a super long tangent, but I think this is all in the realm of why we are viewing, you know, how we view storytelling and kind of what we think the process that goes into it. But to kind of close the Critical Role thing, I don't view it as pandering so much as I view them cultivating their audience with their, you know, I do think they
That
genuinely.
will be this will be a conversation for when we eventually, because I actually do want us to look into and actually break down the whole Tiberius situation and how we as DMs would handle it.
God, that is going to be so much secondhand cringe because I do remember some of the stuff. But
I know he had some really bad stuff, but I actually do think that'd be an interesting video to do.
yeah, um, uh, so yeah, and just the last thing on the whole thing is, I would say another thing about pandering is that generally it needs a lack of sincerity. Like, you know, if you found out that Mercer Ray were like hardcore Trump voters and conservatives, then it'd be like, oh, so you've been pandering this entire time because you don't actually hold those beliefs. But
Okay, so pandering is going to be more if the person is disingenuous.
well, it can be that they're disingenuous. It could be that they're playing up their passion or playing up how much they actually care because they know their audience cares more. and that could be pandering, but it's just any level of you are not being genuine in how you're presenting this. You're just trying to get likes or attention or sympathy or whatever have you. So, returning back to Dragon Ball, if you're not caught up with Dragon Ball Super, now is a great time to check out the manga. His corpse is still warm.
Don't do that.
Don't
You
do
really don't need to do that.
After all, the series carries on the anime story in the aftermath of the Tournament of Power. You can find the manga online through the Shonen Jump app or Manga Plus. So for more information on Dragon Ball Super, you can read its official synopsis below.
All right, boys, hear me out though. You can easily find a way better site to do it than the Shonen Jump app or Manga Plus.
But look, we are not going to tell you that. Just
I'm not going to tell you what the sites are, but I'll tell you there are plenty of sites that are better fit.
Just come aboard, bring along all your hopes and dreams.
All right, now unless we get sponsored by
Crunchyroll, Shonen Jump,
or Manga Plus, in which case,
I'm turning into an admiral so fast. You better get off these fucking seas. I tell you what.
Let me tell you right now. My care about your guys' personal data and everything goes away the moment I get a check.
Oh, dude, the second the world government is paying me, dude, I'm showing up to your house. Is that Opera? Is that a VPN? You get down! You get on the ground!
Are your balls shaved? I'll shave them myself.
Is that a Manscaped subscription? I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
Also, and look, he copy pasted the ending or the very first synopsis of Dragon Ball Super, which is having defeated Buu, Goku's starting to get bored with his life on Earth. His wife Chi-Chi wants him to get a job. All he wants to do is train and fight stronger enemies. Elsewhere, okay, this is basically the Battle God synopsis. So that's the end of that article. Just saying, Toy Boy is processing the loss of Toriyama, going on hiatus. It looks like it might return. There's been some weird fuckery on one of the websites, but obviously very, very sad. Also, did you hear, and this could be a good tangent, did you hear that Oda is taking a 2 or 3 week hiatus from One Piece?
3-week break. Yep.
And the thing he said, which scared so many fans, was like, he's taking a break to truly find out what One Piece is. And like all the people are going, wait a minute, dog, you didn't know? I thought, who the fuck is writing this?
Everyone makes that joke. You can point. Everyone needs to calm down. Oda has said since the beginning that one of the first things that he figured out was what the One Piece is.
Do you believe him?
He knows. Yes, I do.
I don't.
I believe him, and I also believe that the One Piece has not changed. I think that is a set in stone. He will not change that. My confidence in that goes down with every passing chapter. I have to see Gear 5.
Do you know what I think will happen? I think when the One Piece gets announced, at least 1 or 2 critical hints will be forgotten. I think the only thing that will be satisfyingly fulfilled is why the crew laughed when they found the One Piece. But as for the One Piece causing a giant war when the truth is discovered, and what's the other hint with the One Piece? There's one more hint. It's everyone...
That it is treasure. It is something tangible.
Well, it is treasure. It's something tangible. They all laughed when they saw it. It would cause a war. And there's one other hint. Oh God, I can't remember what it is.
The one I know is that it will fundamentally change the world.
Yeah, I don't think it'll. I don't think it will. Now, unless it's what I think it is.
Now, the thing I will say though is that the most important thing when it comes to the One Piece is you have to make me understand why they laughed. I will say you don't have to make me laugh. If Oda manages to make me laugh, I will be very happy with that. But I need to understand why the Gold Roger crew laughed whenever it got there. That's the most important thing for me.
My theory, and it's been this theory for a while, is that I think that all of One Piece is a reverse psyop. I think Oda is actually a lot more based and intelligent when it comes to world politics than he lets off, and that this is all a giant analogy. and I'm not gonna get into like central banking or Rothschilds. I don't think it's like that level. But what I'm saying is, I think
they're gonna get to Laugh Tale, and there's gonna be a dreidel in a
no,
chest.
no, Jesus Christ, no,
That's what it's gonna be.
no. Oh my gosh, dude, now they're watching. No. Okay, no. What I actually think it is
They're
it's
gonna open
going
the
to
chest,
be.
and it's gonna be matzo ball soup.
I think it'll be, and this will be crazy. I think the One Piece is a treasure map.
Oh, that would make me so fucking angry.
No, 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 no. But it's a treasure map that is no longer active. So this would be the joke. This would be what makes it funny.
All right, that's the
All
goof.
all the One Piece actually is tangential proof and knowledge that the world government's been lying. Like proof, indisputable. If anyone saw this, they instantly know the world government's been lying for years because it's a treasure map from before the Void Century, and it shows what the world used to look like. And you know what the world used to look like? Our world.
Oh, ooh, that's interesting.
And the world government annihilated it, erased history, and arranged the world in very divisible and controllable quadrants. Imagine having it 209 countries and then you change it into a bunch of spread islands in 4 sections of the world.
You know,
So
that actually is that's a really interesting idea because that doesn't really hit that much whenever you would see that, but that's kind of like the photo in Attack on Titan.
exactly. No, I think it'll be the photo in Attack on Titan. I think it'll be the moment where you realize the world government's been lying this entire time, and the true treasure that this map now represents is the treasure of freedom and true exploration. That either this world is not just these four blues, or there is so much more in these four blues that have gone on undiscovered or unmarked because the world government wants to keep it hidden.
You know, that would actually make so much more sense why Roger at that moment would also say that he wished he could have lived in the same century as him.
That and why he's laughing because he knows that he won't live long. Like his whole adventure was to find out there is a such an enormous grander adventure that he will not be able to live to see. And so he turns himself in the hopes that he starts a brand new pirate age to get someone that can find the One Piece in time to do a new grand adventure and actually find it and relate to the world.
Man, we need to call up Ohara, dude. We need to get him to do a theory on this.
Well, what I will say is I've been batting like 100 when it comes to anime predictions. I don't know if you've been watching Jujutsu Kaisen or following it, and how many just in the times that we started this channel and I've been saying certain lines, I've just been revealed correct. Like when I was talking about what I think is where I think the 20th finger was, because remember when I said I think
Yep.
yeah, and I think you were the one who edited it.
Mhm.
Yeah, where I was talking about Rika has a 20th finger and he's gonna cleave. Yeah, and Yuji having soul manipulation and he's gonna try to get Megami out of there. I predicted that. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure Gojo. And look, this has been my most controversial one. I think Gojo's still coming back. I think we're going to get Gojo's return in one way or another.
Are you still a Nobara believer?
Yes, 100%. Nobara's coming back. I actually think she's going to be the one that saves Miguel or whoever comes. Right now, when we're doing the whole anyone trying to hold off Sukuna for as long as they can for Yuji to heal and come back with Yuta and Choso, I think Nobara is going to show up, and it's going to be that huge reveal. And I actually think Nobara is going to beat the fucking brakes off of Sukuna for a good second. Sukuna's never run into her power except for like when he was at 3-finger power level and knows next to nothing about her ability in the meantime, and her power already countered Sukuna. So you give me a fucking boosted Nobara who just starts like, and what I'm really thinking is it kind of depends on how we view it. What if because Rika has a 20th finger, if she uses resonance on Rika, it can one shot Sukuna?
Oh no, that's like. Oh wait, that's actually an out. Holy shit!
Or, and this could be the bittersweet ending where Gege said either Yuji dies or everyone dies. What if Nobara admits to Yuji that she always had a crush on him and then kills him with resonance to kill Sukuna? because they're intrinsically linked. Because the reveal is that Yuji's the reincarnation of his twin.
Man, imagine how mad you'd be as Sukuna. You get rid of this little shit, and then you get one tapped without even a saving throw.
Yep. Well, I mean, this is a good example. Hey, I don't care who Gege is fucking right now. If Gege dies tomorrow, Jujutsu Kaisen's done. And I know that sounds very crass, like Miura's wife.
If Gege dies, Sukuna wins.
Well, and like, look, I understand Miura's wife is more important than just some lady he was fucking, and that's not. I don't mean to be disrespectful. Okay, all I mean is, at some level, we have to understand that the artist is the artist. If Tolkien died before he finished Lord of the Rings, his wife or his son, and this is something that people don't like. This is a reason why I will say certain parts of The Hobbit are non-canon. And I know people don't like. I'd actually have to go back and I don't want to misquote, but there are certain parts of The Hobbit and the Silmarillion that were finished by Tolkien's son. Like, and it could be revisions or it could be like different pieces, but I know that there are pieces that the son finished, and unfortunately, I'm going to hold the same standard. I'll have to double and triple check because I could be wrong, and this might be where I edit a correction. But I have since heard that there are parts of Tolkien's works that Tolkien's son had to finish. Now, it could be that his son finished it with maybe like Tolkien had ailing health and was directing him. And in those situations, that's fine. Like if Toriyama was on his deathbed, but Toiba was working in the room with him and getting stuff down, I don't think that's fan fiction. And same thing with Miura.
I haven't drank or eaten anything in 5 days. Black freeze.
And like Toyotaro's like, what do you mean? We've been giving you water, nutritional food. If I don't get a fucking cigarette and bong, I'm going to choke you.
But Toriyama Sensei, we've been giving you a drip, Ivy. I was talking about a Marlboro, you stupid fuck.
Sir, you have a lung you're in the hospital because of a brain hemorrhage, probably because if your smoking has caused your thin blood.
Is me not getting a cigarette going to save my life?
Possibly.
Give me my cigarette.
Also, man, I think it's 40K brain rot, but every time I look at this article and I see moniker, I keep thinking Monkey.
Hello, Monkey.
I'm so glad, and this is like a little bit of D&D talk. I'm so glad they didn't like walk into the room like, "Hello, monkeys," and I was like, "Oh God."
Hello, Monkey. How does it feel being a lesser life form?
Wait, hold on. This might be a live correction. So this was done a week ago. If you scroll down at the bottom, you see related Dragon Ball Super manga returns with tribute to Akira Toriyama.
Oh wait, double feature?
Oh, hold on. So that was written. Okay, no. That article was written a day before this article by Megan Peters as well. So yeah. We're not gonna. So far, there has been no update. Let's see what Megan Peters writes. Oh.
We're getting it's just a content audit on.
No, we're not doing a content audit on Megan Peters. I'm just seeing the type of people that get hired to write articles about Toriyama. You spelled Toriyama wrong. You.
These are the anime adaptations fans want ordered in 2024 to show Kingara Bochi with his fucking meme katana.
Well, and these surprise inspections are going to generally be shorter, and we're going to be covering like either articles or shorter videos that we're springboarding to talk about different subjects. So these aren't going to be too long. So we're probably going to wrap it up here right about now and try to get some other stuff recorded in this session. So if you guys enjoyed this little Toriyama aside, and respect, assalamu alaikum, blessed be unto his name as he enters Allah's halls. I'm just kidding. It'd be really funny if Toriyama had a Muslim funeral, though. It'd be so funny. I don't know why. It'd just be really, really fun. Like, imagine, like, the government of Japan had to, like, facilitate... Because you know they would. They would fulfill his wishes.
No, and then his final wish is that they chuck the meteorite in the cube of Mecha. They chunk it into the sand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they put the 4-star Dragon Ball. They put the 4-star Dragon Ball in like the corner of the cube, and they just chunk the meteorite into the dirty sand.
Dude, you know
Do you,
how...
do you know the part I'm talking about in the black cube of Mecha?
No, but there will be Yakuza at Has Toriyama's funeral already happened? Hold on. When is Toriyama's funeral? Because I'm going. Oh, 3 weeks. Wait, really? 3 weeks ago? Yeah, I guess he already had his funeral service. All right. Well then, dude, you gotta know. Oh no, I knew negate my girlfriend IRL. I accidentally closed the fucking tab.
Okay, so yeah, so the picture I just sent you. You know how it's like the big box?
Yeah.
So at the corner of the box, there's that little black stone. That's the meteorite, and that's what all of them are walking around at the black cube of Mecha.
So they're worshiping a space rock?
Yeah, did you not know that?
Huh. You know, you never think it'd be the Muslims to be doing that. You know, like they seem more like way more traditional.
Yeah, no, dude. Like you're like the second or third person I've told this to, where like, yeah, like, a lot of people think that they just worship the box. No, it's a space rock, crammed in the box.
Oh well, you learned something.
But yeah. So you take out the black stone of Mecha.
Trevor,
and then we
cannot end the recording with you talking about the Black Stone of Mecha after Toriyama's article.
No, I'm saying you take out the Black Stone of Mecha and you put in the 4-star Dragon Ball. And then that's how we celebrate Toriyama's death.
I really think our PFPs are extremely accurate right now because my expression is just Knuckles looking at Vaughn right now as he says this.
I'm like, all right, now just edit the black cube of Mecha with a 4-star Dragon Ball in it. No, it is now illegal.
All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed the wherever you are at work or we got you through another hour. I don't know if anybody watches podcasts like that where I'm like, all right, it's 2 hours long. I watch this, I get through this, and I plan out your whole day around your podcast. But
I 100% do that.
Yeah.
I sync up my watch later in like 8-hour increments and just get through them.
So, all right, guys, we bought you an hour, and there should be another one that should be about an hour long after this one. So, bye-bye.
All right, guys, thank you.
You will Sicus Commentarium and Sequi. You'll do all those things. Goodbye.